cinema matinee. I ain't got $7.50 to pay.
In this version of Lewis Carroll's fantasy classic, an older Alice, I think, as we mentioned, she's 20 years old now. She finds herself in an arranged engagement to some old ugly British dude. And in typical Alice fashion, she once again escapes to Wonderland, which in this movie, we don't know if it's in her head or it might be a real place.
Opium.
Yeah, bitches just high. Yeah. But in this version of Wonderland that she goes back to, it has turned into a much darker place because it has now fallen under the tyrannical rule of the Red Queen, played here by Helena Bonham Carter. And it's a great looking film. I mean, all these goddamn talking animals.
The best thing about it is the CG.
Yeah, it is a painting come to life. A lot of the actors who are just voices are incredible. Alan Rickman is in it. Stephen Fry is the Cheshire Cat. I like the Cheshire Cat in this. I mean,
it looks great.
Even though, I mean, it looks so real now. That cat ain't no CG. That cat was at a party. Some stoners did. That cat has just been grinning ever since. Yeah. Alice in Wonderland has been a hard story to tell. They've tried it for years with different versions. The thing is that it's really hard to have kind of any emotional attachment to these characters.
His original stories don't really have much of arcs, and that's where it doesn't translate to film.
To Tim Burton's credit, the story he's come up here is also not really all that centered.
I do give him credit for trying to add that emotion to it. I mean, these characters are not as crazy as they are in the book.
Yeah, you know what? I thought it for Alice in Wonderland, even for Tim Burton, it's very tame.
The real problem here is that because he was telling a new story, he felt that he didn't have very much leeway to play with these characters and have them do other things. So they're just doing the same stuff from the original story.
Well, they're trying to combine a lot of Lewis Carroll's books into one story here, including like Jabberwocky. And this movie just hits the ground running.
There's a goal that's stated, and then there's so much meandering, you lose that sense of urgency.
A lot of the characters that are played by humans or human heads, that their bodies are CG'd out in weird ways. Like Helena Bonham Carter's head is way too big.
Who already has a big head in real life.
And they just made it bigger.
And they just made it bigger.
And maybe they only made it slightly bigger.
Or maybe all these years there's been CG to make her head smaller. They just cast her in this movie as is. I loved her, man. Every time she came on, I think she was the best performance in the movie.
She gave that role, which was easily two-dimensional, a lot of dimension.
Did you steal my dogs?
No, Your Majesty.
It's cranberry juice.
I was so hungry! I didn't mean
Open his head!
Elijah Wood is really great as the Mad Hatter. Get Johnny Depp and let's push his eyes far apart and widen them so he looks just like that Hobbit kid.
He looks like Bozo the Clown and David Letterman had a child and they're a vampire now.
When I was a kid, there was this woman she was an alcoholic and she didn't know how to put on her makeup after a while, and she had that crazy face. And when I was about like 5 years old, she used to always come up to me and be like, "God, baby, get some sugar." And I would always hide under my mom's arms and under the car. No lie, Johnny Depp is that woman.
But yeah, there are some people who are just kind of throwaway. Like I thought Anne Hathaway, as much as I love her, great actress as she is, they don't give her anything to do.
She's just like the good Glinda the White Witch.
I was looking at her, I was like, damn, was Marilyn Manson off that day? Could they not find him? I'll tell you the thing that really bothered me with this, and we talked about this before, and yes, I'm going to bring it up. You know, I mean, this is a story, it takes place in the 1800s. I'm looking at it at the beginning, I'm like, wow, this is such a good period piece at the beginning.
Sure.
And near the end, they start breakdancing. Now, I don't want to say what happens, but you know, they got a couple of characters in here who are popping and locking at the end.
It's awkward. I would love to have been doing bong hits to this film.
Yeah, me too.
And you know, I didn't have problems with it. I just didn't think it was that great of a movie either, but it's still easily a matinee.
It is mostly a rental, except that it's just so beautiful that you really should see it on the big screen if you're going to watch it at all. So I got to go to low matinee.
It moved along, it did what it needed to do, it got in and out, and it was a lot of fun. But intellectually, it's just wrong, and so I've really been torn with this thing, but I definitely give it a matinee.
I was like, regardless of everything, this movie is great to watch. I like how Alice is a strong female fighter in this movie, who's played by Mia Wasikowska, except that I got bored in the middle, and I'm sorry that little scene at the end of dancing ruined it for me. Reynolds.
It's a moment that is so out of place. I don't agree with you that it's entirely out of time, but I do think that it's out of place for the film. I don't.
What people in the 1800s you knew were popping and locking and shocking? You know, it's like goddamn.
Tick tick tock, you don't stop.
Trying to make it real.